Hey everybody, I hope you're all having a great day so far. Let's just go ahead and get right into it. So, yesterday we were working some more on the our 2D lights project. In specific, we were trying to do shadow mesh generation, but something is wrong with our code right now. It's just something, yeah, it's either I think the issue is that some of the points are getting division by 0 or something, and so it's like an infinite raycast, so obviously that's an issue. Let's see how... I think one way I'll simplify this is let's go back to the light mesh manager and reduce the number of lights to just... I was gonna reduce it to 4, but did I hard code that 16 in there? Maybe I'll leave it just because I don't want to have to deal with other issues. But one thing I thought I'd do to make this easier is right now we have this handle corners, but I think I'm actually going to change it so that find collision with bounds actually doesn't return a boolean. If it finds anything, it'll just return a point that it thinks is a collision, because most of the times when we do this we already know that there is going to be a collision. The only time we don't is right here, and all we have to do to check that is, well, this is actually one of the main points we'd want to check a corner, because if the return point is a corner, then we know that it's just a collision with one point. Otherwise we have to find the second collision. So I think we can switch around this function a little bit. So let's do something like this. Point, horizontal point. And then so is that right? Yeah, so if it hits somewhere on, this should be the horizontal side, shouldn't it? Because that means, I'm confused now. Oh well, no, because we want to make sure that the the collision point checking the left and right bounds is somewhere inside the horizontal bounds, which that would mean that this is 0. But if it either hit the top or the bottom, then we actually need to find that point on the top or bottom bound. So that's what this is. So that was right. But at this point we can just return this value. And if it did hit a corner, then both of these equations should return the same point, so it's no big deal. And then here we would just say return horizontal point. Now we need to change this a little bit. So let's see. This is point B, so instead of just having the out value there, we would just get the return value. Okay, and so point A equals this. So again, I'm going to just, for now, assume no corners. It won't really be that difficult. Well, actually no, we don't need to do that. Okay, yeah, well, let's just simplify things and assume no corner. So that means if point A either the horizontal side or the vertical side must be 0, which means that it collided somewhere within the bounds. So this means collision with the bounding box exists. Find point B. So now we would just go from point A, which is the first collision point we found, and then go along the tangent which points from A to B, and then we just find the next point, and we know that must exist. So yeah, again, this still could be true because there could be a corner, but in that case we need to do some special logic, so I'm just not going to worry about that just yet. So now we can figure this out a little easier. Or I guess it's basically the same. Switch around those variables, I guess, somewhere. So find collision. Okay, maybe this was the issue actually. This is backwards, isn't it? Yeah, I don't know what was going on here. Actually, yeah, because the point is we had to find B first, and we'd use that to see if the triangle is clockwise or not. So I guess I didn't switch all the names around. So maybe that was the whole problem. Because in theory, all this code should be the same as before. But no, there's somewhere we're getting an issue. Some indexes are referencing out of bounds vertices. 54, 36. Huh. Oh, I see the issue here because we skip some segments. Yes, we have to keep a separate counter. Let's see. And I guess we also need to keep a triangle counter. So we might as well add that now. So yeah, vertex I plus equal 4. Oh, we don't really need to know the number of triangles actually, now that I think about it. We just need to keep track of the vertices. Okay, so now we know. I guess we should add this after. Okay, so this vert index A is just vertex I. So I can replace that. And again, this is just for a simple 4 vertex quad, which we're just going to use that for now, but as I said a few streams ago, there is possibility of 5 and even 6 vertexes if the lines hit the sides of the bounding box in just the right way. But yeah, we're just going to use 4 for now because that's simplest. So that hopefully we'll get rid of this issue. I don't really know what's going on with out of bounds, but vertices too small. The supplied vertex array has less vertices at a reference in the triangles array. I guess what I could do here is just say shadow vertices count instead of keeping a separate index, couldn't I? So yeah, let's see. Int vertex index equals, yeah, before we add anything. Okay, so I'm just trying to figure out any other issues here. Okay, so we're still getting the same thing, aren't we? If we collapse, we can see there's just two errors. UV out of bounds. Selected array needs to be same size as the vertices array. And then the mesh vertices is too small. Okay, so let's say shadows for light. So how could these... Well, maybe if, yeah, there's no shadow vertices. Yeah, I guess we should check that. So if shadow vertices count is 0. Oh wait, no, it's greater than 0. Yeah, maybe that was the issue, is that I was trying to give a... Okay, so we're getting some stuff now. And most of the lights seem to be doing fine. So yes, light 3. I really need to just... I wish I could easily get back to just one light. Well, I guess I can. I can just make the light mask manager not create the meshes for the other lights. So yeah, that should be fine for now. Okay, so we can just get rid of all the other ones, and now we can move red around and see when it gets an error. Okay, so it is working. Yeah, so the weird issues just have to do with us not, again, that's why right here as a prime example is why we need extra vertices, because it hits opposite sides of the bounds, so we need one there, one there, one there, and then one there, for example. Okay, so what was that error I just saw? I can just say error pause, can't I? That's a weird thing. I bet it's a specific... It doesn't seem like it's lined up exactly with any point. Huh. We don't need that up anymore. Okay, so let's get rid of this debug log because it's not helping anything anymore. I guess it could have been one of these vertices that was causing a problem. interesting. I don't. He's too small. I just don't know, like this arrow doesn't give me any hints about what could be the issue. Because we only add to the shadow vertices at the same time that we add to the triangles, so I don't know how they could get out of sync. I guess what we need to do is just... See, I've been hesitant to do this because it's going to just clog up the debug log, but... So, verts... tries... Oops. Another thing, yeah, we run this all the time and it creates a ton of garbage, I just realized. Because we have to create this new array every time, but I'm not really sure if there's a good way to try and... I guess the best way to do that would just be to assume every segment has the max amount of vertices, and then we would just place extra vertices along the along like one edge, so that way we could have just a constant array size. I wonder if that would actually be faster or slower in the long run, because we'd have more triangles for the camera to render. I guess we can test it out. It's right now 32 verts, 48 tries. So what's this? 28 verts, 42 tries is the one that gave an error. Unfortunately, it doesn't actually throw an error, so I can't like do a try catch and then if there is an error, print out something. This does a Unity log thing. Okay, maybe let's make this even simpler and remove some of the other colliders. Just do that. That's interesting. So it seemed before that it was creating vertices and triangles for colliders that didn't actually exist. Okay, yeah, so something clearly goes wrong when we skip some segments, because this is the maximum number, because there's 4 segments right now, 1 for every side. So whenever it skips a segment by saying that, so obviously something is wrong here. 1, it returns true sometimes when it shouldn't, because even when the collider is completely out of bounds from the shadow mesh, we're still assigning maximum number of vertices. Oh, maybe not. Let's see. Okay, yeah, so here it's saying okay. So it seems like the issue happens maybe if both So let's remove that. Yeah, so the error happens when you move so that you're out of bounds both horizontally and vertically. Okay, so that gives me a little... Okay, well no, not there, it's still bad even though we're in bounds horizontally. Now it's not throwing anything. It's doing 8 vertices, 12. I guess, okay. So, yeah, we know that for some reason the code that checks to see if a line is inside the bounds isn't right. So maybe if we fix that, we'll be able to fix the bug. I also noticed that since the cutout covered the camera range, or yeah, the visualized cutout, we couldn't actually see the mesh being generated, so let's look at that. This looks fine actually. Yeah, it's just issues, like it seems like when you go just out of bounds it starts to complain. Alright, so how am I going to test this? Because this seems to be working. It's, I guess it's this code. Okay. Maybe it's the corner code that's causing issues. That'd be just my luck. I wish there was an easier way I could test this that wouldn't spam the debug log. So I'm pretty sure this code is fine because obviously we saw the mesh and it looks right. But there is still an issue because it's telling me that even now when the light is completely out of bounds from the collider that it still has 16 vertices, which isn't right at all. Even though there's nothing actually there, I just realized. So where is that mesh? I unfortunately can't see it. Maybe if I... Yeah, it doesn't even show up. Okay, so let's simplify this even more and maybe just work with only the top segment. So here, yeah, we'll just do top left, top right, top left right there. So now we're not getting any debugs? Why is that? Okay, so it's correct now. Sort of. Oh, that's right, there's no side colliders. So it's gonna look a little strange, but this code seems to be fine, and then if we go out of bounds, we stop getting debug lines, which means it's not creating anything. But even here, there shouldn't be anything. Okay, so maybe this is the issue. Technically it collides with the bounding box, but both points are out of bounds. I think maybe I didn't test that, did I? Okay, yeah, so that's the issue. See, if both points are out of bounds, I guess we need to see if the points are on opposite sides. That's the only time that they'd actually collide. Okay, so how would I do that? Okay, so if point A dot porous side equals negative point B, yes, this means they're on opposite sides horizontally, or if they're on opposite sides vertically. Again, so yeah, we still need to check for corners, because that's one time that they could be on the same side, technically out of bounds, but still collide. Although, yeah, I don't know, corners are just confusing. So yeah, if they're on opposite sides, then we need to do this. See if they still collide with the bounds. Actually, now that I think about it, it would only collide if they're on opposite sides. Well, no, it could go diagonally through. I was going to say if they're on opposite sides horizontally and then one of the vertical is inbounds, but no, because it could go diagonally through the box, so I think we just need to test this completely. But then if they're on the same side horizontally and vertically, then we would just return false here. I think that will do it. Let's make sure this works now. We also need to like extend this collider so it's larger than the bounding box size. Okay, so yeah, this is working. Okay. So here, okay, so that code is not completely right. Why? Because the segment, they're both -1. Well, they should both be -1 on the horizontal side, but 0 vertical side, which should make this not. Oh, but it says B inbounds. Oh no. Because B inbounds, they both have to be 0. Correct? Yeah. Which means that one of them would have to be inside the light. Oh, hey Bo, okay. Thanks for stopping by, I do appreciate it. Oh, you're gonna follow? Thanks, I do. That'd be really great. Have a good night. And I guess I'll see you later. So let's see. So obviously something is still not right. Although it does see that when it's out of bounds horizontally and vertically, it at least doesn't go. And that's weird. So when that's fine, it's only when I move it up here. That's weird because it's not symmetric. It's only when it's... Okay, that tells me that maybe I did a little logic right. I mean wrong. Thanks, Bo. Because the problem is, again, it's inbounds vertically, but both out of bounds horizontally, and it creates a mesh. But if I'm inbounds vertically, or inbounds horizontally but out of bounds vertically, it doesn't create a mesh. Maybe that's because this collider is big. Let's see here. So let's change this to 2. I'm not sure if it... Well, no, it did. It should update. Okay, I was gonna say maybe it's because the segment is actually the same size as the light. Yeah, we actually should test that. But not just yet. Yeah, the sprite should really be this child, shouldn't it? And then I need to change the scale slightly. Okay, so yeah, it's a little ugly, but I want it to be the same size as the collider so we can see what's going on. And since it's smaller than the bounds for both horizontally and vertically. Okay, so again, it's creating vertices then. And I don't know why it's doing it then. I guess I need to check that out. But it's not creating vertices here. Okay. So I bet maybe I misplaced something along here. Point A horizontal equals negative point B horizontal. Okay, so that all looks fine. But actually, right now, that code should never run because the segment is actually smaller on all sides than the bounding box. So I guess I should debug log. I'll make sure this doesn't run. Should not run. Okay, yeah, so that isn't the issue. It's some other code I'm having. Maybe it must be this code right here that I make the point. So position is greater than bound radius x. Yeah, okay. And then, yeah, if it's less than negative, it's -1. I was hoping that there was some silly error here, but it looks all fine. So I guess let's do a little more debug logs here. So both and bounds, we can see which branch of code is running at the wrong time. Okay, so that's calling should not run when it's up here. It's calling should not run here. How come that debug log didn't show up earlier? Yeah, but that's the wrong. That's where our issue is. Yeah, so both in bounds, obviously, and then A in bounds works fine, and B in bounds works. Let's get rid of the visualize cutout so we can see the meshes. Yeah, that looks perfect. Some weird things here. Like, I think this looks like one triangle, but I guess one of the other triangles is mushed up right here. Yeah, so I guess we can actually get away with 3 vertices in that case. guess that happens when one of the segment points is on the edge. Although, actually, it should go down to the corner. But anyway, that's not what we're trying to fix right now. So here, yeah, obviously it's calling this should not run, and it's actually returning true. Well, no, that does make sense because, yeah, if we run here, then obviously this would return something. Oh, is it, well, no. Okay, yeah, that's the issue. Because obviously 0 is equal to -0. And this B inbounds doesn't check to see if it's either only horizontally or vertically inbounds. This B inbounds as if it's inbounds of both. So what I actually need to do here is if point A horizontal does not equal 0, and then they're equal to their negative. Or same thing here, but point A dot vertical side does not equal 0. Okay, somebody's probably been screaming that at me. Okay, and I don't need to test B because obviously if A is not 0 and they're equal, they're opposites, then B is not 0, so that's fine. Okay, and then I'll just put another debug log here. And this is all out of bounds, no opposites. Okay, yeah, so this still shouldn't run, but we can go ahead and have the correct meaning of that code. So out of bounds, no opposite. So yeah, that should not change ever if I move this around. It looks like it doesn't. Then when I go here, it goes B inbounds both. Okay, so yeah, it's all perfect. You might notice when I move under here that nothing shows up. But that's actually what I mean by the triangles are clockwise, because we're actually, this part shouldn't cast a shadow because in the actual game we never have just a one-sided collider like that. It'll always have a bottom, and the bottom would cast a shadow. So later on we'll be able to filter out and not even create meshes for clockwise triangles, but alright. Okay, cool. So I'm gonna take a small water break. Be right back. Okay, let's get back to it. So let's see. So now this code seems to be working fine, so just to clean up our debug log, I'll go ahead and comment it out. So now I guess we can add these other segments in, and let's hope the code doesn't blow up. so there was something I saw there. But in general, it seems to be okay when I move completely out. Yeah, no vertices are being created. Okay, so let's look at the error. Okay, so it's still the same thing. So I guess let's turn back on error pause and then turn these back on and see if we can find out exactly where it's happening. I guess I'll add even more debug logs, and let's print out the segment index. And the order, I guess, is the left, bottom, right, and top. So hopefully we can remember that. So there's going to be a whole lot of things being printed out. Come on, I wish I would stick with the bottom. It will pause whenever there's an error. Okay. So it's this segment 3, that's the top, isn't it? And B is in bounds. Okay, but that's not actually where the error happened. Somewhere else. So let's look back up. Segment 0, both in bounds. That's left, so that makes sense. Segment 1 is the bottom and the A is in bounds. Segment 2 is out of bounds. So I'm not sure why it doesn't like this 12, 18, because that makes sense. Because we subtract 4 vertices and 6 triangles. Our triangle indexes is actually 2 triangles. Has less vertices in reference to the triangle, so somewhere. I don't know how that can happen. Vertices are cleared right here. So we can go ahead and to make it a little more intuitive. I don't see anything wrong with this unless one of these indexes is wrong. It's based on the shadow vertices. Okay, let's just run it again. Alright, come on. There we go. I have to clear everything once to get it to stick to the bottom. Okay, so there it actually skipped 2. And that's right. There's 2 triangles for each quad, so 8 divided by 4 is 2, so that's good. Okay, here it didn't complain about there being less than max. I just don't understand how it could get out of sync because we use the count right here and it never like only adds some, it always adds 4. Maybe it's not something in my code? That doesn't make any sense. Okay, so like, for example, shadow vertices is 0 at this point. So then vertex index is 0, then we add 4. And so this is 1, 0, 2, 2, 0, 3, and so that's not out of bounds. Okay, well let's, seems a little silly to have to do this, but I guess I'm going to print out just a complete list of the triangle array. Is there an easy way to do this? Triangles. Is there a join? Yeah, there is a join, but it's not what I want to do. I don't think so. Concatenate. I don't use this link system a whole lot, but I know there's some way that you can like call toString on everything. Okay, well, let's just do it the old-fashioned way. I should figure that out though. I guess list toString. Oh, come on. So I'll create a new string builder, and then we'll just, for each triangle and shadow triangles, string builder append triangle, and I guess I actually need to know the index. Oh no, I'll just be lazy. We'll have a useless comma at the end. I guess I could just have space. Oops, it's in the wrong spot. Okay, so list toString. Oh right, and then I need to return the string at the end. Oh, there we go. Okay, so now, yeah, it's a bit overkill because we're gonna get the entire list of triangles every frame, but I think it's what we're gonna need to be able to figure out this bug. So clear. Oh, come on, I wanna be stuck to the bottom so I can actually see what's going on. I don't know why the log sometimes does this to me. Oh, please. Okay, well I guess it's still paused whenever we encounter an error, so it should be okay. Okay, there we go. Okay, so there's 12 vertices. So 1, 0, 2, 2, 0, 3, 5, 4, 6, 6, 4, 7, 9, 8, 10, 10, 8, 11. And there's 12 vertices, so that doesn't make any sense. Each of these triangles exists in the list, so why is it complaining that it doesn't? None of these are greater than 12. Okay, this... Yeah, so obviously it's not my code, it's gotta be something else going on. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. So it's not like missing any. There's not like an infinity in there that doesn't show up in the 2 string. Maybe it's because... Do I need to like... So this maybe goes on right away and it doesn't like allow me to set the triangles. Is there a way to set both? Seems like it's the same. I don't know what the submesh is. I think I tried this before and it gave me an issue. The UVs aren't causing an issue, so let's do that. Seems like that was the problem, is Unity was like updating the vertices right away and then checking that the triangles were still valid, but it didn't let me like set the triangles before it threw an error or something. I've never encountered that problem before. Okay, so, okay, well good, everything still works. But it's still complaining. There's gotta be a way to like set both at the same time or something. Or, wait. Don't you have to like set a mesh? I forgot to do this. I think you should mark it as dynamic. Maybe that was my whole problem. Although this code never seemed to really impact performance that much. Maybe when you mark it dynamic, okay, no, it still does stuff. So there's gotta be a way to set the vertices and triangles at the same time, so let's look online real quick. Mesh set vertices and triangles at the same time. Okay, so what you have to do is call mesh clear, which I guess makes sense, before you go and set anything. Okay, so I'm just gonna, I guess we can use those methods. Okay, so yeah, we've learned something about Unity today. Okay, so no more problems. Yeah, that again, the issue was just that when I set the vertices, it immediately checked to make sure that the triangles were still valid. So what you had to do is call clear first, and that seems to take care of the issue. Before I go any further, let's check the profiler and make sure none of my code is super slow. Oh, well, right now the debug log is taking up a ton of my time. But besides that, we've got the render and then the blit, but nothing else even comes up. So that's good. Setting that mesh, even though we might generate garbage every frame, doesn't seem to be. Although, you know, now that I think about it, I bet you that generating the garbage every frame is what caused those weird spikes every few frames, because the compiler has to go check garbage. So yeah, we will need to go back and fix that. So we'll either need to make sure that the number of vertices is constant. Oh, actually, that's not going to be possible, really. I guess we'll just have to keep a list, like cache vertices of the same size or something. It seems like a pain. Or cache arrays of the same size, I meant to say. But anyway, we'll worry about that later. Okay, so we still have some time. Okay, so now let's have I'll extend the collider back to its old size, and it's exactly the same size as, oops, I still have the game running, as the horizontal bounds. So hopefully if I try to line up the light exactly, we're just not going to be able to see anything really, but hopefully I at least won't throw any errors. Okay, so yeah, the lantern is at 0. Surprised I did that exactly. So now, is it at 0? It says 0, 0. And then the platform, okay, the platform was not at 0. Okay, so interestingly, yeah, so this still works. Yeah, now we say out of bounds opposite sides because both of these are exactly on the border, which the game registers as being out of bounds. And so it says opposite sides, so it raycasts through, and I don't see any problems. I wish I could see the actual mesh, but I think it's exactly aligned just because the way we don't extend down to the corners yet, but seems like no problems there. So now if I create, I don't know, this might not even be worth testing right now without going all the way to the bounds, but if I create a collider that's bigger than the bounds, oh wait, no, it's full half. And hopefully this should still work. Let's take that out. So yeah, so out of bounds opposite, and it doesn't seem to cause any problems, which is good to see. It says you can't actually see the mesh really because it just hits a straight line across the bound, so it should go down here, but we haven't implemented that yet. So I guess maybe that's what I'll do now. So now we can have variable number of vertices, which will complicate things. Trying to figure out, there's a bunch of different possibilities that we have to take into account. Okay, well maybe we should call clockwise while we're here. Okay, so let's bring this back down to a smaller one. So yeah, right now when we bring it over here, it should say there's 16 vertices, and that's just because it's creating the collider for the top side even though it's clockwise, so really we don't even need to create that collider or that mesh because it wouldn't even be rendered by the camera, and it'd be completely hidden by the other shadows anyway. For a matter of fact, in this configuration, the left and right shadows would be, well, they're actually clockwise too, now that I think about it, because we're hitting the sides of them, not face on. Not sure if there's a way, like if Unity has a built-in way to see if a triangle is clockwise or not. That would be useful. Check if a triangle is wound clockwise. Okay. Oh, well, no wonder I had problems with this before. When I just looked this up, I found out Unity actually has a clockwise winding order instead of counterclockwise. Okay, so that's why I had this backwards before, all those streams ago, so I'm sorry for spreading that incorrectly. So we actually want to skip counterclockwise. Okay, so yeah, it's a skip if not. But I want to see. I hope there's just an easy function Unity has built in that I can check if it's clockwise or not. Okay, I can use a cross product. Don't really want to have to implement that myself. Okay, so let's see. Here, cross product, clockwise. Calculate by triangulating the polygon and summing the angles. Triangulating the polygon and summing the angles between the spokes. Not making much sense to me. Okay, so cross product clockwise. There's got to be an algorithm here. Okay, so if you take cross product, you can look at the sign of the vector, and that will tell you if it's on the left or the right side. Okay, so let's see. I know that Unity has a vector 3. Oops. Cross product. Oops. Okay, so let's just go down here because it's kind of unrelated to all this linear collision. Okay, so is triangle clockwise. And we'll have a vector 2A, B, and C. Okay, and then how we turn this. So we basically want to find the we want to find a direction vector from A to B and A to C, I think. And then we want to take a cross product of those. And then we can look at if it's positive or if the Z value is positive or negative. I think that's how it works. This might take a little bit of testing on my part. So vector 3, so AB equals new. Oh no, they don't need to be normalized, that shouldn't make any difference. So from A to B is B dot X minus A dot X dot Y minus A dot Y and 0. And we have to change these into vector 3s because the cross product only works on 3D vectors. And C dot Y minus A dot Y. Okay, and C. Okay, so if you've never worked with cross products before, the general gist of it is that given two 3D vectors, it will give you a third vector that's perpendicular to both in 3D space. So this is basically what we want. We want to use cross product of 2D vectors. Direction of the axis of rotation for rotating from the first to the second. Cross product. Yeah, then we just take the Z value. Okay, so in clockwise that means this should be positive, I think. So we'd want to turn cross dot Z greater than 0. I think cross will return 0 if these vectors are collinear, which means they point in the same direction. Yeah, so we'll take care of... Wait, so that can actually happen. But I'll take care of that later. Actually, yeah, if it's collinear, then we might want to skip that segment anyway. So is triangle clockwise, A position, B position. Let's see what order we add this. So yeah, triangles. Actually, it's B, A, then hit B. So yeah. Oh, I did this. No, it's backwards. Okay, so if that is clockwise, then we know to render this quad. And let's hope I did that math correctly. Although I guess if I didn't, we probably just need to fidget with some things. Okay, yeah, so something is not correct. Well, it's still making vertices, but I think I got it backwards because it seems to be making only the ones that aren't being rendered. So this must be less than. Okay, yay, now it works, and we see it only has 4 vertices, which means it's just doing one quadrant. And yeah, it seems to be smooth. There's a little blinking right there, but I think that might be one of our issues where, yeah, because when it's right there, I think the cross product might be returning 0. Because it only happens if you stay right on the edge. Although something is a little wrong actually. This works sometimes. But like here, it's not shading out the top. Which is interesting. Maybe I don't know if this will make any difference, but we might as well try it. Maybe we also need to check if the second triangle is clockwise or not. Which is probably unneeded, but like I said, if the cross product is 0 for one, it shouldn't be for the other one. So the second triangle is hit B, A, and then hit A. Okay, so let's look at that. Okay, yeah, so that did fix that issue. It is probably a little more work than is actually needed, but it's still, we still only have 4 vertices, so it's not like it's generating unneeded ones. So I think the issue is that, for instance, so this shadow goes outwards like that, and then this other one is just a straight triangle, and since both the vectors are collinear at that point, the cross product would return 0, and I think that was the problem. Why the second mesh wasn't being rendered, so we just need to actually check that. So that would happen, let's see, so this is A, and then B is like right here. And I guess the problem is B and hit B are in the same spot, so I guess we could check that. Well, actually, it'd be easy to check if point B is like already, quote, out of bounds horizontally, which that means that it's just on the edge. Which we're gonna have to do that later on to create, like, because we only need 3 vertices here, so when we finally get into having a dynamic number of vertices for every quad, we'll have to do that. but for now it works. I guess let me write a note here. Yeah, so we don't need to have that as a to-do. Have to check both triangles because we do not check for hit B equaling B. In other words, B if B is on the bound, I guess let's say border, if I can spell it right. Which we will do this later, like I said, because we'll need to know that information to see if we can get away with just 3 vertices instead of 4. But anyway, yeah, it looks like it's 9 o'clock, so I think I have to wrap it up. Wow, I feel like we got quite a bit done. So yeah, now this whole part, finding things in and out of bounds, seems to be working great, and I'm really surprised that my raycast code worked right away. That's always good to see. So yeah, it's another math-heavy stream, but I think we'll still be doing this probably at least tomorrow because, you know, like I said, we gotta make all the extra vertices to actually cover out the whole bounds. And then we'll get back to rendering because we'll want, the end goal is to fill up this texture with masks for all 16 lights, and what we'll do is have the masks for 4 lights, basically all the red ones, out here, and then the camera will render them all at once, and then we'll take those and mesh them and merge them together into one texture, and that will dramatically cut down on the number of draw calls we have to make, which was our main bottleneck in the previous system. But yeah, tomorrow we'll work on basically filling out this area, or I guess cutting out is the better way to say it. And in the process we'll be able to look at the triangles a little more intelligently, and maybe we'll fix up this garbage collection. Let's see. Look into caching to avoid generating so much garbage. Because the problem here is that we basically create 3 new arrays per mesh every frame, and that's going to take up a lot of memory that's just thrown away on the next frame. So there's got to be a better way to do it, but I think it's going to kind of be a pain. Let's look. Yeah, we can't do that. I guess we still could do this, but okay, we just did that. So we're gonna do later. Okay, we already know that physics is slow. Okay, that's gonna happen. Okay, so we need to handle shadow quads hit by multiple world borders. In other words, variable vertice or vertex count, and then cache arrays, and then remove redundant clockwise winding test for the second triangle. This will probably go up there. Oh yeah, and then we need to also deal with corners, which is really just close really this code right here, because if it's a corner, basically point A and point B need to be the same instead of doing another ray cast, because that actually won't return anything useful. Corners and what's that function called? Is segment inbounds. And then I guess this could maybe be optimized, but I'll wait until we finish everything. Okay. So yeah, that's it for me for tonight. Thanks everybody for coming by and chatting. I do appreciate it. If you missed part of the stream or any previous one and you'd like to catch up, I will upload everything to YouTube. You can get there from my channel description or typing !YouTube in chat. Similarly, if you'd like to talk to me and other viewers, I have set up a Discord channel. You can get an invite in my video or channel description or type !Discord in chat. It's a really small community right now, so yeah, we'd love to have you. And yeah, I'll be back tomorrow at about 8:30 Eastern, and we'll continue where we left off. So again, thanks everybody for stopping by, and I hope you have a great night. Bye-bye.